So you guys have a special treat for you today. We have Clark here who is going to tell you about his journey into the depths of alcoholism and how he climbed his way out.
Yeah.
Okay. So Clark, just for context, just give us a brief sort of understanding of the kind of family you come from, where you grew up and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah. So grew up in here in the upstate of South Carolina. Good parents, two sisters, what I would consider to be like a normal upbringing. There was no addiction in my family that I was aware of anyway. My parents didn't even drink socially. So there was no alcohol or anything like that around when I was growing up. There really wasn't much that I can think of in my childhood that would have pointed, that I was headed in the direction of sort of becoming an alcoholic,
okay.
Right? Yeah.
How old were you when you had your first drink? Because you weren't super young like some of the ones we see.
Yeah. I was 18. I was 18 years old before I had my first drink. But I immediately just sort of fell in love with it. I had always kind of felt like a loner a little bit, and because I got drunk the first time I drank. It wasn't just like a beer.
You went all in.
Yeah, for sure. Because it just like, hey, I kind of like this. Let's see if more is better, And it just, everything in the world felt okay at that point to me. I fell in love immediately.
It's what people sometimes call it the missing piece.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it felt, for sure. Okay. Yeah, no doubt.
And so, how did it progress from there? Would you say you were just like a regular young person that drank a little bit, or was it different?
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't say that. Now back then I would have thought that for sure, but in hindsight, it was all, any time that I could get my hands on alcohol, before I was old enough to just go buy it myself, it was drinking with a mission.
Okay.
Whether it was with friends or whether it was alone, it really didn't matter that much to me. It was fun at that point to do it with friends, but yeah, it was a mission. My mission was to get drunk,
Go
for sure.
The whole distance.
Yeah. Oh okay. Yeah. In fact, my friends used to call me like Clark T. Lush or something like that. I forget.
When you were a teenager?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's not the good
Started
sign
when
right there.
I was young, though. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was the crazy one. Yeah.
And so, were you drinking every day at that point?
No, I wasn't. Not at that point. And that's really just because I couldn't get my hands on it every day.
Okay.
But yeah, as soon as I could, then it turned into a daily thing for sure. Yeah, okay. It was just part of my daily routine. It really, at that point it started right around the time I turned 21, and what happened is I had joined the military, and alcohol was readily accessible in the military. It was not hard to come across. So, and it was like almost like encouraged. It was like sort of, that's what you did. You worked and then you went and got drunk. That's what we did anyway.
That's what you had to do to be one of the boys, I guess. Right?
Sure, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's how I felt about it. There was, my first duty station was in South Korea.
Okay.
And there was a girl I met over there. I was 21. I fell in love. I knew her for like a month or two, a couple of months before she wound up moving back, and we stayed in touch, but things just kind of didn't work out naturally. It was a long distance across the world relationship, etc. But at that point, my sort of victim thinking started.
Because you got heartbroken.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And what I did, instead of dealing with that in like a healthy way, instead of like reaching out to like friends, family, even though I was like away from family at that point, I turned to alcohol. And so yeah, it was like a 2-week period after that I just drank every day. I was not eating food. I don't think I had a bite of food for like a couple of weeks. I think like all of my calories were from like whiskey and Coke drinks. So yeah, it was
it was like a 2 week.
Yeah, it was like a 2-week bender pretty much. And I was going to work during the day, but I was not there,
Wow.
Eventually, it's like some of my coworkers kind of intervened and were like, hey, you're eating food today.
Wow.
And they sort of forced me to have like a sandwich or something from Subway, I think it was. And at that point I started eating. My drinking just kept on from there. That was when it really the real problematic, like, poor me, I'm going to show the world, I'm going to get drunk, I'll show them by getting drunk. That's when that started. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I think we call that a I'll get drunk at you episode.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it just lasted years.
Yeah. Okay. So is that the point where it really started getting every day? For
sure. Yeah. Okay. It was every day from that point on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
From that point, what was the next big turning point?
Yeah, so I mean that continued for years, and I think like the next major turning point would have been like one morning. It was sort of a morning like any other. At this point, I had started. I'd tried everything to quit. By the way, I'd started smoking weed, and that helped me stay sober for a few weeks, and then I would start drinking again, and now I've got 2 problems instead of just one, and I marked the bottles, I was counting drinks, I was doing everything, and none of that worked, obviously. So a day like any other, at this point, I've gone through school, graduated with honors somehow.
Wow.
I'm in grad school, but grad school, was going, I was making good grades, but I was struggling because of my drinking. And it was a morning kind of like any other. I was kind of out of booze, and on my way to the liquor store, I got a phone call from my sister, and she said, "Dad's had a heart attack, and we think he might be dead."
Wow.
Yeah. And so all I could say was just no. This can't be happening, And I just couldn't deal with it because I knew I had not been the son that I wanted to be, or that my dad deserved me to be. I was not living up to that. And I wasn't ready to lose the opportunity to do that, because in my mind, I might feel guilty about my drinking, but I'll fix it down the road. There's always time.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, there's always tomorrow, right? Well, my dad was in the hospital for a few days, but he didn't make it. And so, that opportunity was gone at that point. And I think that's the first, like, real life, big time, consequence that I had felt that just hit me like a ton of bricks. And yeah, it was rough. I remember having a conversation with a good friend of mine during that period of time. And I told him, I said, because we all knew I had a problem. We all knew it was a bad problem for years. But at that point, I was like, I know that if I don't get a hold of this now, I will lose myself in this, like completely lose myself in this. And he was like, yeah, you're right, man. You got to do something, And still, I wasn't able to get it under control.
How long did it go on from that point that you said that to your friend?
Yeah, it was
until it stopped.
It was a couple of years. It was a couple more years.
Couple more years after that.
Yeah, it was
when you really knew.
2 more years.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And like I say, it was just something I just had no control over. And by the time I finally came to you guys and found help, I was at the point where I knew it was killing me. I was completely aware that I had lost control, and that life was not gonna be going my way. And I just at that point didn't care. I cared, but not until I reached out here, not enough to do what needed to be done, which was get help, because it's just not something that I ever would have had the power to do on my own. If I had not come here, if I had not sought help, I would still be doing that if I would even be alive today, which is really a question in my mind. I don't know that I would be. So
I feel like I remember you were telling us a story before about you had these friends upstairs or something, like you lived in an apartment, and you had some drinking friends upstairs. Yeah,
so it was actually like a couple buildings over from me. Yeah, okay. So I'd be hanging out with them, and we'd be drinking, we'd be smoking, we'd be doing all that, and it just wasn't really enough for me though, even then. And I would sneak out and I would make up an excuse. I gotta call my mom, I gotta do whatever, and run back down to my house to drink, slam a few drinks, and just to get okay, even though I was drinking up there. And then go back up there so that they wouldn't see, the degree to which I was drinking.
Right. Because there's this shame, and even though you know you have a problem, even though you probably know other people may even know you have a problem.
Yeah, for sure.
You still don't want them to see.
Yeah, there's still
the
that
ugliness of it.
There's still that drive to try and hide it. I'm okay. I have to, like, I knew I wasn't okay, but I had to project that I was okay, for some reason.
Having to leave the party.
Yeah,
because you can't drink like you would drink.
Right.
In front of other people.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've treated some alcoholics that didn't drink socially at all.
Yeah, well, that's how it was at the end. By the time I got to the end, I would say that was around the time my dad passed away. After my dad died, I pretty much stopped hanging out with people, more or less. I mean, I had a couple of friends I would still see every once in a while, but overall it was just me sort of hunkered down in my apartment, drinking, doing my thing. It got to the point of where if I sort of heard a noise outside, I was like staring out the peephole in the door, just like kind of paranoid, like what's going on.
Wow.
It was really kind of pathetic, yeah.
So before you called us, what was a regular day in the life of Clark?
A regular day in the life of Clark was wake up in the morning, check social media, check my phone to see what I had done, what I had put out into the world the night before. It was never good. Every morning started with me, trying to like mop up what I had done the night before.
Wow.
And me kind of hating myself. That's how I started every day. And to deal with that, especially at the end, by the time grad school was something, I wasn't even enrolled in grad school anymore because there's no point in continuing to pay money for something that I was not taking seriously at that point. And I was unable to work. So I was just at the house. So to deal with those feelings of self-hatred I had every morning, I would just immediately usually smoke or I would drink. I would start in the morning. I would be upset to be awake, honestly, because at that point sleep was the only thing that I had that sort of felt like I was escaping everything for a little while. I would drink. I would just continue that all day, honestly. And, by the time nighttime rolled around, it would be, there wasn't a lot that had happened during the day, and it would be, I would lay in bed usually afraid to go to sleep because even though I really, on the one hand, was kind of suicidal and like almost just wanted it to end, I was also afraid to die, and I was afraid I would die in my sleep.
Wow.
So I was literally afraid to go. I would lay awake at night afraid to go to sleep. Because I lived alone and I didn't want to be like found dead, in my apartment. So I would usually be up really late because of that. And then the cycle would just repeat itself every day for for quite a while.
It was really pathetic existence. Held hostage.
Yeah, for sure.
Couldn't not drink.
Yeah.
Right. Hated drinking.
I knew what I needed to do to fix the problem, but I felt powerless to do anything about it. I wasn't willing until I finally took the step. I just wasn't willing to shine a light on my addiction. And I think that's the only thing that can bring about recovery. Addiction can't live in the light.
Right.
And I was isolating in an effort to stay in the darkness, you know? And so, that's kind of how I was living my life. And it wasn't until I came here and we put a light right on it, that I was able to start getting better. Yeah.
Was that was the thing that held you back? That was what you were scared of, not like treatment, not like detox. It was
it was everyone knowing.
It was everyone was talking about it out loud.
Yeah.
Putting it all out on the floor.
For sure. Yeah.
Wow. That was holding you back. So what happened?
That was a big thing.
What happened that you worked up the courage?
I really don't know what clicked necessarily. I just know that it was I knew my existence was just not what I wanted it to be, and it wasn't headed in the direction that I wanted it to head in. I knew, I was kind of like, where am I going to be in a year? I was sitting there dwelling on that a lot, and I couldn't come up with a good picture of what that looked like for me. And it was just one night, I was drinking again, I was doing my thing, and I just said, this can't continue. So I got on the computer and I did a search for treatment, and I think you guys were one of the first ones that came up, and I actually looked at some of your YouTube videos. So yeah, I forgot about that part. But yeah, I looked at some of your YouTube videos and I was like, this seems pretty legit. And I sent you guys an email that night and got a call back the next morning. I was off to detox.
Yeah, that was one of the things about your story that I thought was remarkable, was that you came in. A lot of people come to see us still in some level of denial. Maybe they know they have sort of a problem, but they're not like alcoholic, or they need to slow down but not stop. But you came. You're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And you like took the marching orders almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I say, you know, in AA, I've heard a lot of people say, you know, that when they came into the program, they had the gift of desperation. Mm-hmm. And I think that I was desperate. By the time I got here, I was desperate. And I was like, well, I've reached out now. I've done it. So let's make sure we do it right, you know. Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad that I did. It really is a gift. I mean, desperation can be a gift.
Right.
I don't think it's always required, but I'm glad I had it, because it definitely made me willing to do whatever it took. And it wasn't easy. It was not easy. Even though I wanted it, even though I did have that desperation, it wasn't something that was easy to do, but wow, does it pay off.
What was different about the recovery process? Or was it like what you thought it would be like, or was it different?
I mean, not really. So when I reached out to you guys, I was expecting to go to detox. That was the main reason I reached out to you guys, honestly, was detox. I was afraid to quit. Like I said, I laid awake at night.
You should have been
afraid to die.
You couldn't have you could
not.
You
I don't think so either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I knew that. And so my plan, in my logical mind that I had in active addiction, was, I say sarcastically, was to come here, go to detox, and maybe do some individual therapy, and I would be fine. I'd be fixed. I really thought that. That's not how it worked, and I'm glad it didn't. So I was not expecting group. Twice a week, whatever. I was not expecting to be, to go into AA and all that stuff.
And even the marijuana, I think you said that one time.
That wasn't something I was planning on quitting. I thought I could still smoke. I thought that'd be fine. I just got to quit the drinking, So I even told my friends, like, hey, don't worry, I'll still be able to hang out, blah, blah, blah. We can do this, But, once I got into out of detox and into group and into individual therapy, I figured out that my problem, and this is where I was mistaken, I think. I thought my problem was drinking, but that was a symptom of my problem, I think. It was, my problem was the way I looked at the world, the way I thought about things, the way I thought about the world. And checking out, can be done in a variety of ways, whether it's drinking or smoking weed or whatever. And if you're checking out, I found you're not engaged with the world, and that was my problem. I wasn't willing to stay engaged with the world because the world was a cruel place that I really didn't care to be a part of necessarily anymore. It was just that I wasn't about that. I was very skeptical of everything and stuff. So it took me realizing that my problem wasn't just drinking to get better, really. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you did not get better immediately. You got sober pretty immediately, but you did not feel better immediately.
No. I think it probably took like 5 or 6 months, if I remember right. I'm not sure exactly how long it was, but yeah, I mean, I had a couple little pink cloud moments, they call it, but overall, I was pretty depressed the first several months.
You were extremely depressed.
Yeah.
I was worried about you.
Yeah.
Kimball was worried about you.
Yeah.
You were, but you hung in there, and that was really impressive.
Yeah. I mean, it was tough, but I knew that what I was doing was not working, and wasn't going to work. So I was like, well, I feel really crappy, but I was told by you guys and people in AA and other folks, there's, no matter how bad you feel right now, there's nothing that you're going through that taking a drink can't make worse. Right. And that was true, for sure. So
there was that one time you were walking to
the
grocery store and turn around. I've never seen people don't usually get that close and turn around. That was impressive.
Yeah, it was right after I got back from detox, and I didn't even have a car that would run. My car was broken down, so at this point I'm having to take the bus around town everywhere. But there was no bus at the moment, and I was just like, you know what? I give up. I'm gonna drink whatever. I'm walking to the gas station, and something stopped me. I turned around and came back. And I think it was just, just knowing that, you've come out with it now. You've opened up, and that's what I was talking about, shining the light on it. The light was on at that point.
Right. And there's accountability. Right. There's no more hiding in the secrecy and the darkness.
Yeah. So that was a big thing. So, yeah.
And now your recovery coach.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Just started the gig, and so yeah, I'm loving it. And that's to me, that's like the best thing about recovery, because like everyone in AA and a lot of folks here and stuff that have helped me have been touched by addiction, and they've taken those experiences and used it to help other people, and not myself included. And I hope that I can, do that for other people. And I'm looking forward. I now have the opportunity to do that, to make my living, which is a great gift. I mean, if you would have asked me a year ago, where I was going to be, that was right before I came here. I would not have said that. I might have said dead, but I wouldn't have said that. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I'm just super grateful, and I just cannot believe how good it is to be sober after, I knew it was going to get good. Everyone told me that, and I believed it, but it did after that bad period of time for the first like 5 months or so. Man, it got good quick after that.
Wow.
Yeah, it got real good.
And I think that's for us, that's what's amazing is, it's not even just that we get to watch the miracle happen to Clark, which is amazing, but then to watch Clark help other people, and knowing that those people are going to help other people. I feel like when one person gets it, it just multiplies. And like, if you help somebody's parent get sober, it doesn't just change that person's lives, it changes the lives of their children, which probably impact the lives of their children.
For sure.
Recovery is contagious.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't think you can be touched by, recovery and come away quite the same, Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, thank you for hanging out with us.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.